Somewhere in a Walmart parking lot tonight, a 67-year-old retiree is sleeping warm, cooking a hot dinner, and charging his phone inside a 15-year-old cargo van. His monthly living cost is almost nothing, and he didn't learn his setup from young van life influencers with $40,000 builds. He learned it from the people who had no choice. The homeless veterans and forced nomads who figured out, through years of hard trial and error, how to survive in a vehicle with pocket change. Today I'm showing you the 10 gadgets those people actually rely on, and just as important, the 5 overpriced gimmicks that will quietly drain your wallet and your battery. And the number 1 gadget on this list costs less than a large pizza, but every winter, it decides who wakes up in the morning. Now, a quick word on how this list was put together. These aren't gadgets from sponsored reviews or glossy camping catalogs. These are the items that show up again and again in real parking lots, real rest stops, and in places like the cheap RV living forums, where people who live on a few $100s a month compare notes every day. Every single one had to pass 3 tests. It has to be cheap, it has to run on almost no power, and it has to keep working when it gets dropped, frozen, and rattled down 1,000 miles of bad road. A few of these will look almost embarrassingly simple, and that's exactly the point, because when your home has wheels and your income is fixed, flashy equipment is a luxury, and reliability is survival. So let's start the countdown. Number 10, Reflectix Window Insulation. Walk through any hardware store and you'll find rolls of this silver foil bubble insulation for around $20. Long-term van dwellers cut it into panels shaped to each window of their vehicle, and those shiny panels do 3 jobs at once. In winter, they stop your body heat from pouring out through the glass because a bare window sheds warmth faster than any other part of a van. In summer, they bounce the sun back out before it can turn the vehicle into an oven. And at night, they black out the windows completely, so from the outside, the van looks empty and parked, not lived in. People sleeping in cars have used dollar store windshield sunshades the same way for decades. $20 of foil can be the difference between shivering at 3 in the morning and sleeping through the night. Not bad for something that folds flat behind a seat. But keeping warm air in only matters if you can also stay clean. And that brings us to a gadget that costs less than 1 month of a water bill. Number 9, the pressurized garden sprayer shower. This is a plain 2-gallon pump sprayer, the kind sold in the garden section for spraying plants. Van dwellers buy a brand new one, never used for chemicals, paint the tank black, and leave it on the dashboard in the sun. By late afternoon, that black tank is full of genuinely warm water. Pump the handle a few times. Hold the nozzle over your head behind the van or inside a shower tent, and you have a real warm shower using less than 2 gallons. People who've been on the road for years say the trick is a cheap kitchen sprayer nozzle swapped onto the hose, which gives a wider, gentler spray. Pair it with a gym membership for bad weather days, and you may never pay for a shower again. It sounds almost too basic to work. That's what most people say right up until they try it in a quiet campsite at sunset. Of course, warm water for washing is one thing. Water you can safely drink is a different problem entirely. Number 8, the Sawyer Squeeze Water Filter. This little blue filter weighs about 3 ounces and screws onto a standard plastic water bottle or a filter pouch. It's rated to clean roughly 100,000 gallons of water, which for one person is effectively a lifetime supply. Homeless travelers and long-haul van dwellers use it to turn questionable sources into safe drinking water. A rusty campground spigot, a gas station tap, even a clear stream in the mountains. Bottled water looks cheap at the register, but $1 here and $2 there quietly becomes $50 or $60 a month, and on a fixed income, that's real money. With a filter like this, water goes back to being what it should be, which is free. Backpackers have trusted these for years on trails like the Appalachian, and the design has no moving parts, no batteries, nothing to break. You fill it, you squeeze it, and you drink. So now you're insulated, clean, and hydrated. The next gadget handles the thing older van dwellers worry about most, and that's staying warm without running the engine. Number 7. The 12-volt electric blanket. Here's the mistake almost every beginner makes. They try to heat the entire van, usually with some plug-in space heater that devours more power than a small battery bank can possibly supply. The people who actually live this life do the opposite. They heat the person, not the box. A 12-volt electric blanket plugs straight into a cigarette lighter socket or a small power station and draws around 4 amps, a tiny fraction of what a space heater pulls. Slide it into your sleeping bag 20 minutes before bed, and you climb into a warm cocoon while the van itself stays cold. Combined with a decent sleeping bag and those Reflectix panels from earlier, people sleep comfortably through nights in the 20s without burning a drop of fuel. For anyone with arthritis or an aging back, crawling into a pre-warmed bed instead of a frozen one means the difference between dreading winter and shrugging at it. And keep this in mind. Every heat source on this list, from this blanket to the big one coming up at number 5, only earns its place next to the $15 Guardian waiting at number 1. Still, a warm bed doesn't solve every nighttime problem, which brings us to the gadget nobody likes to talk about. Number 6. The bucket toilet with a snap-on seat. Nobody puts this one on the cover of a van life magazine, but ask anyone who's lived in a vehicle through a January and they'll tell you it matters more than the fancy stuff. Outreach workers who visit parking lots and encampments say this exact setup shows up in nearly every long-term vehicle they check on, and there's a reason for that. The setup is a standard 5-gallon bucket, a snap-on toilet seat lid that costs about $15, heavy-duty trash bags, and a bag of wood pellets or sawdust from a feed store. A scoop of pellets after each use locks in odor completely. No chemicals, no cassettes, no hunting for RV dump stations, no fees. The sealed bag goes into a dumpster with the regular trash, which in many places is treated the same as a bag of dog waste. Compare that to the chemical camp toilets that need special fluid, special disposal sites, and constant rinsing. When it's sleeting outside at 2 in the morning, a $15 seat on a bucket beats a $300 gadget you have to drive somewhere to empty. And speaking of freezing nights, the next item is the one that changed winter van living forever. Number 5. The Chinese diesel heater. 10 years ago, a proper diesel-fired heater for a van or truck cab cost over $1,000. Then factories in China started producing their own versions, and today you can buy a complete diesel heater kit online for around $150. This is the single biggest winter upgrade in the entire van world. The unit sits in a corner, pulls a trickle of diesel from a small tank, and blows steady dry heat all night on about 1/10 of a gallon per hour. It has a thermostat, so it holds your chosen temperature while you sleep. Homeless outreach workers in northern states have described vans and old ambulances kept livable with one of these through the January 2024 cold snap in Minnesota, when wind chills dropped past 40 below, all on pocket change worth of fuel. 2 warnings, and they're serious. The exhaust must be properly routed outside the vehicle, and you never run one without the safety device sitting at number 1 on this list. Do it right, and a metal box on wheels becomes a warm cabin, which raises the obvious question: what's powering the fan, the blanket, and your phone? Number 4. The folding solar panel and small power station. Free heat is nice, but free electricity is what makes van life sustainable year after year. The modern setup is simple. A 100-watt folding solar panel leaned against the tire on the sunny side of the vehicle, feeding a lunchbox-sized lithium power station. You don't drill anything, you don't touch the roof, and you never have to call an electrician. The panel goes out in the morning with your coffee, and by afternoon the station is full. That's lights, phone, laptop, the electric blanket, and a fan in summer, all completely silent and completely free. The older method was idling the engine to charge things, which burns half a gallon of gas per hour and wears out a motor you can't afford to replace. Used panels from solar installers often sell for a fraction of retail, and they last 20 years or more. People living on disability checks run their entire electrical life off a setup smaller than a suitcase. And once you have free power, the next gadget stops one of the sneakiest money leaks in vehicle living. Number 3. The 12-volt compressor fridge. Here's a cost nobody calculates until it's bleeding them dry. Ice. A styrofoam cooler needs a fresh bag of ice every day or two in warm weather, at $2 or $3 a bag. That's easily $60 a month, every month, forever, just to keep milk from spoiling. Meanwhile, the food swims in meltwater, and half of it spoils anyway. A budget 12-volt compressor fridge, the kind sold under a dozen brand names online, runs on an average of an amp or two and keeps food properly cold or even frozen. It plugs into the same power station from number 4 and sips so little electricity that a single solar panel keeps up with it. For someone stretching groceries between checks, a real fridge means buying meat on sale, keeping leftovers, and throwing nothing away. The ice cooler era is over, and honestly, good riddance. Food solved, power solved. The next gadget takes care of the modern necessity everyone assumes requires a monthly bill. Number 2. The long-range Wi-Fi antenna. Internet feels like a bill you can't escape, with phone data plans running $50 or $80 a month. Van dwellers escape it with a USB Wi-Fi antenna, a small directional antenna on a cable that plugs into a laptop and costs around $30. Where a laptop's built-in card sees nothing, this antenna reaches out and grabs the free public Wi-Fi from a library, a coffee shop, or a fast food restaurant from clear across the parking lot. Park within sight of a public library, and you have all-day internet from the comfort of your own bed. Libraries deserve a special mention here, because for people living in vehicles, they're a lifeline. Free Wi-Fi, free bathrooms, heating in winter, air conditioning in summer, and nobody asks questions. With free internet, you can handle banking, doctor portals, job applications, video calls with the grandkids, and every evening's entertainment without paying a phone company a dime. Which brings us to number 1. It's the cheapest item on this list, and it's the only one that's genuinely a matter of life and death. Number 1. The carbon monoxide detector. Every single winter, people are found dead in vehicles, and the cause is almost always the same. Carbon monoxide from a heater, a stove, or an idling engine drifting into a closed space while they slept. The gas has no smell, no color, and no warning. You simply get sleepy, and you don't wake up. A battery-powered carbon monoxide detector costs $15 to $20 at any hardware store, sticks to the wall with a strip of tape, and stands guard every night for years on a couple of batteries. Experienced van dwellers treat this as the first purchase, before the heater, before the solar, before anything. Pair it with a small battery smoke alarm, and the 2 most likely killers in vehicle living are covered for under $40. Everything else on this list makes van life cheaper or more comfortable. This one is the reason you're around to enjoy it. If you take one item from this entire video, take this one. Now, before we get to the 5 gadgets you should never buy, one quick thing. Everything in this video covers what these gadgets are. What I can't fully cover here is where and how people use them to live completely free. The overnight parking strategies, the food programs, the quiet ways long-term nomads keep money coming in. Some of it just isn't the kind of thing you can talk about freely on a public platform. So we put all of it into an ebook called the Van Life Savings Manual, written for people thinking about van life, people already living it, and anyone worried about a friend or family member who is. You'll find the link in the description below, or just scan the QR code on your screen right now. All right, now for the gadgets that look brilliant in the advertisement and fall apart in a real parking lot. The first gadget to never buy: 12-volt cooking appliances. The 12-volt kettles, 12-volt coffee makers, and 12-volt slow cookers that fill every truck stop shelf. On paper, cooking from your cigarette lighter socket sounds perfect. In practice, that socket delivers so little power that a 12-volt kettle takes 30 to 40 minutes to produce lukewarm water, all while dragging your battery toward a no-start morning. Meanwhile, a $15 butane camp stove boils water in 3 minutes on a canister that costs a couple of dollars and lasts weeks. Every experienced van dweller cooks on flame or on a proper power station, never on the lighter socket. If the box says 12 volt and the picture shows food, put it back on the shelf. The second gadget to never buy: cheap high-watt power inverters. These are the gas station specials promising 3,000 watts for $40. The wattage rating is fiction. The cheap ones produce a choppy, distorted power wave that can damage laptop chargers and medical devices like CPAP machines. And when pushed hard, their thin internal wiring overheats. Melted sockets and scorched carpet show up constantly in van forums, always traced back to a bargain inverter. Worse, an inverter running a household appliance will flatten a standard car battery in under an hour, and deep discharges like that ruin the battery itself. If you genuinely need household power, a small brand-name power station is safer, quieter, and honest about its limits. A $40 inverter is a fire waiting for a chance. The third gadget to never buy: micro wind turbines for vehicles. You've seen these online. A little turbine you mount on the roof or clamp in a window with promises of free power from the wind while you drive or sleep. The physics is brutal. A turbine that small, at ground level, in the turbulent air around buildings and trees, generates almost nothing. On a good day, enough to slowly charge one phone. Meanwhile, it whistles and rattles all night, marks your van as lived in from a block away, and costs more than a real solar panel that produces 10 times the power in silence. Wind power works on tall towers in open country. On a van roof, it's a noisy ornament. The money belongs in solar, every single time. The fourth gadget to never buy: dashboard solar phone chargers. These are the paperback-sized solar panels with suction cups, sold as a way to charge your devices free from the windshield. The panel is simply too small. Behind glass, angled wrong, a panel that size produces 1 or 2 watts, and a modern phone wants 10 times that just to hold steady. People report leaving their phone on 1 all day and coming back to a lower battery than they started with. Real van dwellers use a real 100-watt panel or charge from the vehicle while driving. The tiny dashboard version is a toy wearing a survival tools costume, and on a tight budget, 25 wasted dollars stings. It also teaches a bigger lesson. In off-grid gear, size isn't a preference, it's arithmetic. And the fifth gadget to never buy: battery-powered portable air conditioners. Every summer, ads push these little cubes that promise to cool your van off a USB battery. Real air conditioning takes serious power, the kind that needs a large battery bank or a running engine, which is why actual RV air conditioners are big, heavy, and expensive to run. A palm-sized cube physically cannot do that job. Most are just fans blowing over a damp pad, which in humid weather makes the van feel worse, not better. The people who actually survive summers in vehicles do it with shade, cracked windows with bug screens, a $2 reflective windshield cover, and a 12-volt fan that sips power. They chase cooler weather when they can, and they park under trees when they can't. Save your money and be suspicious of any gadget that promises to beat physics for the price of a tank of gas. So step back and look at the pattern. Every gadget on the good list is cheap, simple, and boring. Foil panels, a bucket, a garden sprayer, a $15 alarm. Every gadget on the bad list is flashy, complicated, and dishonest about what it can do. The people who live in vans because they had no other option couldn't afford to guess wrong even once, and what they settled on, after years of hard testing, is the boring stuff that works. That's worth remembering whether you're planning your own van, already living in one, or looking out for someone who is. If you found this useful, hit subscribe, because next time we're breaking down how long-term van dwellers eat well on just a few dollars a day, including the grocery strategies that stretch a fixed income further than you'd believe. I'll see you in that one.